Hey everyone, welcome to the Wild and Uncut podcast, brought to you by Ruger. I'm your host, Kristy Titus. Thank you for tuning in. The line is going hot, so let's go full send on this episode. Across America, freedom is more than a word. It's a way of life. Generations of grit rest in the hands of those who build, defend, and sustain. Crafted to endure, tested in the wild, and relied upon at home, the next generation of the Ruger American Rifle is a bold evolution of precision and rugged reliability for responsible owners, today and for generations to come. With onX Hunt, those who wander are never lost. Public and private land ownership, offline functionality, and 3D mapping allow me to hunt with confidence. And the elite membership comes included with draw odds and unit trends with hunt research tools, a membership to Hunt and Fool, plus a membership to Hunt Reminder to ensure you never miss a draw deadline. Download the onX Hunt app and start your trial today. Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Wild and Uncut podcast. I'm here in Missouri with my friend and bow hunting mentor, Mr. David Westmoreland. I call you friend loosely because I pay you to hang out with me.
It's a paid relationship. They have names for that.
It's a one-way street here, okay? I'm sending the money to David, but I've been hunting with you since 2017, and here we are. Next year will be, well, this is our 8th year hunting together. Mm-hmm. Next year will be 9, right?
Yeah. It's been a good ride.
Almost a decade.
Had fun, yeah. Yeah, we've had fun. Every hunt is a bit of a challenge. Seems like you have the best and the worst luck.
Well, I think when you say challenge, it's tormenting for you.
No, it's really, we've talked about it. I've been doing this a long time. And was fortunate enough to sort through clients, and I've really got some good ones, and you're one of them. All my clients now pretty much are friends, and it's more of a reunion when my people come hunting. It is weird and uncomfortable actually for me to take money from my friends and hunting partners. Because you're a hunting partner.
Yeah.
Look at the year we had.
Yeah, it's been an awesome year.
I drew a once in a lifetime elk tag, and he was nice enough to come and help.
I didn't even charge you.
Didn't charge me.
Golly.
But you didn't call a lot either.
That's true.
But we had a great hunt. It was short. We was only there a few days, but we killed a nice bull. Kristy got it on film, and it was good. It was probably it wasn't the quality of animal that I expected after 20 years of trying.
Yeah.
But the hunt.
The duration also. We weren't there very long.
We weren't there very long, but the quality of the hunt itself is more important now to me than anything, and that's what I wanted. Even when we started putting in 20 years ago, I wanted a really good elk hunting experience, and that hunt was good. And we killed a bull, so that made it nice. And then it was like a blink of an eye, and here we are in Missouri hunting whitetails. Mm-hmm.
It's my favorite. I love coming
I don't know about
here.
all that.
Well, so you talk about it being weird that I pay you to hang out with me, which is not an uncommon relationship for me. I pay my cameraman. It seems to be like a lot of the people I surround myself with. I don't have a big friend network. The people I spend most of my time with are my favorite outfitters like you, my cameraman, my family. I have a very small circle of people. But I don't ever begrudge writing you a check to come here and hunt, and not because I think you charge me, because I come here randomly throughout the year and make myself at home. And I walk in your kitchen and Cindy's like family just like you are, and the work that goes into, so we're sitting in one of your trophy rooms and there's 56 deer in here.
50 something, I don't know, I gotta step back and count them,
But
it's a room full.
It's a room full, and every deer in here's 140, 150 and up from there. I mean, there's not a small deer in here. 99.9% of them are free range deer. And they're DIY, non-outfitted hunts, right? They're stuff that you have put together and done yourself.
Yeah, that's one thing I've been kind of proud of. I mean, like when I started hunting big whitetail, it was long before, what they're doing now is deer farming and, all that existed. There wasn't nothing that.
Yeah.
There was no cameras. There was no food plots. There was no nothing. There was no YouTube. There was no Google to figure out what a rub is. I mean, it was strictly woodsmanship and your hard work that made you successful. So that's important to me. A lot of people don't appreciate it because they're too young to. It's not their fault, but they don't appreciate what we did in the time that we did it. It was a different time. I bring up Miles Keller a lot because he was my mentor of whitetail, and I remember when he hit 50 Pope and Youngs. Nobody was even close to that. I mean, it was a big deal to kill a 125-inch deer, and he had a couple state records and like I said, 50 overall Pope and Youngs, and I was in awe of that. Like I was just like, holy smokes, he's killed 50. I was probably, I don't know, when I met Miles, I was probably 22 years old, and couldn't dream of ever killing 50. Well, now, I mean, I don't know how many I've killed. I mean, it's well over 100, and I was just like, now it's
I would say push 200.
Well, it could be 200. I don't keep track of anything. I wished I would have. That's one regret that I have. I had nobody to teach me to keep a log or a journal, because a lot of people, they tout a number or whatever, and I can't do that on anything. I mean, deer, turkeys, elk. I mean, I've lost track of elk, and that's to me, it's kind of frustrating because it's, kill a bull elk with a bow is a big deal, and I don't know how many of them I've killed.
Yeah.
But I just never was one to focus on that one or that as a number. I was always focusing on the next one.
Yeah.
Didn't matter what the number was.
Yeah.
I was focused on the next one. So that's a regret that I have, is with anything. I wish somebody would have taught me to write a journal. I think it's really cool, guys that do that. I'm just not one.
Well, I've learned so much from you, and the biggest thing I've learned from you is it takes a lot of work. And it's not easy. You see people that are successful hunting big deer, but there's so much that goes into it. And also, like, years of experience, well, that's just not going to work. That spot's no good, just by looking at the landscape. And that comes with so much time. And even you and I, hunting over the years, I learned, okay, we'll put a stand up, and some guys that'll hang a stand, and that's where the stand is, and they never move it. And you and I don't know how many times in the middle of the night we've had dinner, and we load up in the side-by-side, and we're in the middle of the night in the dark moving a stand 30 yards.
That's
50 yards, whatever it is, because the deer are using a slightly different trail or taking a little different path. And you're always adaptable, and you're always, okay, well, what do we need to do so that tomorrow morning, when that deer moves through that trail that they're using right now, if it's your shot's 80 yards and you need to be 20, let's move the stand however far, you're willing to go do that.
Yeah, and you have to be able to adapt when you're hunting whitetail, especially during the rut, because it changes daily almost with food sources and pressure and everything. And I can have the best laid plan in June or July, like this is the spot. And it very well could be, or it could have been last year, like this is the spot. And one tree can fall over somewhere, and then it pushes the deer 20 or 30 yards in a different direction. So you as the hunter, me as the outfitter, we have to work together.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm seeing these deer by this big hickory tree. They're going by the hickory tree. Well, what do?
We gotta move.
We eat dinner, and at night we go and do our thing. And a lot of people don't have any clue to doing that. Like they'll hunt the same stand. Well, I saw 4 deer here. Well, you did, but the 4 bucks you saw were
At a range.
40 yards out of range. So you're going to sit there tomorrow and the same deer are going to be 40 yards out of range. So you have to be able to adapt, and it is a lot of work. It's hard work. I mean, from when we start, the day season ends, I start planning for the next season, and it always frustrates me the words like when I do get lucky enough to kill a big one, guys will spout off, "You're so lucky." Well, there is a lot of luck.
Yeah.
We know that, but it takes a lot of work to make luck. I mean, you can make a whole lot more luck by working harder. And I don't fish, you know that. I don't play golf. I do watch the Chiefs now. I never used to do that even, but I do watch a little football, but I'm not big in sports. I hunt, and that's it, and work. I still have a full-time job, but
He sells real estate for Whitetail properties, so if you guys are interested in the real estate market, David's the person to call.
Yeah, I still have to work and maintain a job, but you have to be dedicated and make sacrifices to be successful, and no matter what.
That's right.
Whether it's deer hunting or or work or whatever, you got to put in the work, the effort.
Well, a couple of years ago, I came out in the spring and we hung stands, we cleared branches, and we based on what I'd seen the previous fall, like you were open to me coming out, and that was really fun. We did that, and
a lot of my clients like to do that because it gives them a feeling of participating in the hunt, and I'm the same way. I mean, to be honest, I hate hunting with an outfitter. I mean, myself, because I don't feel like it's as big of a reward unless you've had a part of it, and by coming out, Matt Petrello used to come out every year. Matt come out and I feel he learned a lot by coming out and spending time with us hanging stands, and then it makes it I don't know what the right word is, but it builds anticipation for when you come back in the fall.
The nice thing is the things I'm learning here, like every time I go home and I hunt, I'm able to apply it, and last year I did my first kind of DIY whitetail hunt in Wyoming, which is awesome. I get to be in a place where I get to hunt on my own, and I set the stands, I put cameras out, and I had the stand set, and the deer that I was targeting was 20 yards from my tree, and I couldn't get on that side of the tree and shoot. And then I hung 2 stands. But I mean, I did get a deer, and I did it on my own. And I mean, I had it with an outfitter, but like I went in there and I set the stand, I picked the tree, all of it. Right.
But you applied a lot of what you've learned here over the years to get that deer. So again, hard work. You put the work in both here and there, and it all worked out for you. It's
even
cool.
This year, when my deer walked by, and he went and checked that doe, and he came back into the field, what's David say? Well, did you snort wheeze at him?
Yeah.
Did he hear you? Did you snort wheeze? Did you try snort wheeze? And I did that, and I never would have known if I wouldn't have had, that's the great thing about having a mentor, is having their voice in your head when you're in a situation. I'm moving too much, or like David would be like, what are you doing? I can hear you yelling at me. You have a great saying we won't say on air, but it's your hunt. You can it up however you want. That's it, and so I hear that a lot in my head when I'm making decisions, or I'm trying to do the right thing, or so yeah, I appreciate it, and I know how much work you go through. You put in these food plots, and you got beautiful blinds, and you got good stands, and you try to always put me in a spot that's going to be good, and sometimes we got to move things around, but you're also make it to where it's like, hey, you want me to be as successful as I want to be at the end of the day.
It's really hard on me, like when I have a bunch of hunters in and we're having a hard time, a struggle. There's nothing worse. From a good outfitter standpoint, if you're a good outfitter, you really want your hunters to be excited and successful. And man, it's bad. Like this week when it was bad.
It was hard. Weather, 2 days we didn't see a deer hardly.
The weather is we're so dependent on weather and movement, and the movement was terrible. It was 75 degrees, and it's really hard on me, and I know it is the hunters too. It's frustrating because they wait all year for that 5 days, where me, like I told you, I probably wouldn't even hunt. Like you guys are out there, you've got to be there. But
you have 5 days or whatever.
We're fortunate living here that, when I can wait, especially with these trail cameras that we're running now, we know not know, but we're pretty in tune with what the movement is like. And so when it's on, we can, slide in. And
Yeah.
like this year, for instance, I only hunted maybe 3 hours total. And it doesn't take long if you know what's going on and the conditions are right. And I've done that several years. I mean, I think I don't remember the number. I think there was 5 bucks I shot over a couple 3 years there, and I think I hunted a total of like 9 hours. There's 5 good big bucks. I mean, I killed a couple opening day deer, and then I had some other things where when I bear hunted in Alaska, I didn't get to hunt until like the 30th of October. But I still, the first day out, I shot a buck, and just because the conditions were right. Like
That's one thing we talked about, like when I went to Kansas with you, is there was a good deer. He was patterned, and
exactly,
you're like, Kristy, you got to get here right now. He is on pattern. You have to come here.
Mm-hmm.
And when I showed up, we had one evening
with good wind.
One. And I went all the way to Kansas to hunt one night.
Yeah.
And that was the night he came in, and I got that deer. And that's still my biggest archery deer.
Again, though, that's sacrifice and hard work. I mean, you made the effort to go, and I've done that a lot. I mean, people, especially my wife, thinks that I'm crazy because the wind would be right, and I'd drive 5 hours to Kansas, and a lot of times, I mean, I took Logan out there when she was really little. I was babysitting her, and I had to take her with me in order to hunt. But we drove 5 hours out there, and I sat an hour and a half in a tree and killed a 185-inch deer.
Mm-hmm.
But that's, again, it's sacrifice and hard work. So.
And, every time you go in, like one of the things you always told me is your first sit's probably your best sit. If you have one on a good pattern and the conditions are wrong, don't even mess with it. Just leave them be. But when it's right, you go in there and you don't make a mistake and you kill them.
Yeah. There's a lot of times where I put clients in a spot and the conditions are right and everything. And if the clients aren't prepared to make it a success by being noisy or whatever, or getting there late or whatever the case may be, or leaving early. I've had clients a lot of times, they're back at the house before dark. And I'm like, you had to leave your stand 30 minutes before
That's
dark.
right in prime time, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of variables that you have to play into being successful, but at the end of the day, it's hard work and dedication that makes you successful. And I look back, I mean, like over all the years, and I missed a lot because of hunting. I mean, I missed a lot of family time, and there was one deer in particular, and I've got his shed here, but this deer here, I'd had hunters in Kansas for the week before Thanksgiving. And the year we built our home, we had my family and Cindy's family here for Thanksgiving. And I told Cindy, I didn't get to hunt much that week because I had clients. And I told her, I said, I'll be home. We was going to have dinner like at 6 o'clock. I said, I'll be home at noon. I'm going to hunt just a little bit in the morning and I'll be home. Well, I saw this deer that morning, right at daylight. And that was on the 27th of November, Thanksgiving morning. And that's back before cell phones now. I mean, I got to a tree and I was supposed to just sit there a couple hours and get home. I came home the 17th of December.
You hunted that long?
Yeah. And I couldn't call her until like 6:30 that night. So she was expecting me for dinner. We have 50 people here in our house, half of which she don't know. And I came home the 17th of December. And I never killed the deer. That was the bad part. I mean, it was like,
That's like the one that got away.
Yeah, I was the one that got away. And I really should have killed him. I mean, it was a 225-inch, deer. And I technically should have killed him, but I didn't ever get him killed. So, but I sacrificed Thanksgiving, and most people won't do that, and it's just part of it. I mean, like I said, if you're going to be successful in business or hunting or whatever, you have to make sacrifices and work hard. And I did that, like our whole life, even before I was married. I mean, I sacrificed a lot. I didn't go to school in the fall. I'd go spring and summer so I could hunt, so it took me a minute to get through college, but I had my falls off. You know, I hunted and trapped and was able to be successful hunting, but it took me a minute to get through school. So I think that's the biggest thing I said is people dedicate, you know, their efforts to being successful, and you will be, you know, if you work hard. So,
what's some of your best advice besides
you
work
know,
hard?
we talked a lot about success, and I think the biggest thing for me, you know, I shot professional archery, you know, and when I was in college and for a while afterwards, and a lot of these animals in both these rooms wouldn't be possible.
For most people.
Yeah, for most people. Well, I mean, well, I had the ability to make shots that most people couldn't make, and I look around at the room, and even now, I still shoot well, but I don't shoot like I used to. But I look at animals and I'm like, there's no way I would have killed that if I couldn't shoot. You know, I mean, the old saying is, you don't have to be near as good a hunter if you can shoot well.
It's not the stick, it's the wizard.
No, it's not the wand, it's the wizard.
No, it's not the wand, it's the wizard.
It's not the wand that makes the magic, it's the wizard behind it.
That's
and
right.
I've always said that. I mean, like a lot of stuff I've shot that's been, you know, just this summer. I mean, I never in my wildest dreams thought I'd shoot a Cape buffalo facing me. I'm just against that. I mean, you know, but we chased this bull and chased it, and every time we got in range, the bull was looking at us. And so finally, he was at a point of charging, you know, like it was going to, you know, one more time and he was going to charge.
He was over it.
And so I shot him at 60 yards frontal and killed it. And, you know, that's a hard shot. I mean, it's a hard shot for anybody, but I shoot a lot. You know that. I shoot every day. And I think that's probably the key to being successful is being able to shoot. It's a big part of it. So
that's David. You always had this saying. You were like, Kristy, you do all of this and you work so hard. The easiest part should be the shot.
Yeah, and that's a fact. I mean, all of us can hit, you know, a baseball at 20 yards. I mean, and that with a whitetail, I mean, that's really what you're shooting at is a baseball or a pie plate. You know, and we've all screwed that up, and it's so. I think that's what frustrates bow hunters so much is that they practice so hard. If you're a true bow hunter, you do practice, whether you know it's at the level I shoot or even just, you know, the normal person shoots. I mean, you should still, it's a lot of work. And when you get that deer standing there at 25 yards or whatever it is, and you make a bad shot or miss, totally miss, it is frustrating. There's not a worse feeling, I don't think, than to watch an arrow sail an inch over the back of an animal that you work so hard to get to. And we've all done it, even me. I mean, I've missed. I mean, I don't do it a lot, but it can happen to anybody, and there's not a feeling like it. Well, and the worst feeling is if you just make a bad shot. You hit it high or you hit it low, or, you know, there's not a worse feeling as a human of making a bad shot, whether it's a miss or a hit or, you know, non-vital hit or whatever. So I think that, you know, we all owe it to the animal to be the best we can do and know your abilities. Like, you know, when I shot that buffalo, I mean, I shot all summer at 100 yards plus, and I could hit pretty much, you know, a baseball, softball at that distance. And so I knew I could make the shot. But there are variables, you know, the animal's got to be there, hold still, the whole 9 yards, and you still have to be able to make that shot. So.
You trained me or taught me a lot about equipment. Like when I first started coming here, one of the big things, I came here one year with some really heavy arrows.
Yeah.
And you hit me on my hat. And you said, what are you doing? You're shooting a little old white-tailed deer. You got this big heavy arrows, and your arrow's going to go out there and just drop like a rock, and you don't need that much arrow. And you were adamant about it.
Well, there's a.
But what happened? I missed a deer.
Yeah.
And then you're like, see, I told you, if you would have had a lighter arrow, you'd have zipped right through that deer. And
there's so much controversy, and always has been since Indians, on archery setups. You know what I mean? What works, what doesn't, and there's a lot of theorists out there, if that's the right word, I don't know, but that tout heavy arrows for penetration. But if you if you really think with a little common sense, which is hard with the marketing and social media that's out there, it's hard for people to use their head. Um, you rarely do you not kill an animal because of penetration. You know, the part that kills an animal is placement. And I always say I'd rather have a 300 grain arrow going 350 feet per second through the lungs than I would a heavy arrow that shoots 3 inches below. Mm. And the flatter shooting arrow, now there's a happy medium there in an arrow weight. But back in the day, the old days, I mean, Fred Bear's Field Notes, if you read that, going all the way back to that time, they would work hard for 45 foot-pounds of energy. Mm-hmm. Well, in our modern compounds now,
you can get that with a 35-pound bow.
You can get it with a 35-pound bow, and a properly tuned bow that's spined right and tuned right, it's hard to get below 45 pounds. Mm-hmm. You just hardly can't do it. So penetration's not an issue. And these guys, I mean, I don't know whether they do it for social media clicks or whatever, they get these theories in their head, and well, you have to shoot a 750 grain arrow and 75 pounds or whatever, and they're shooting whitetails through the ribs. I mean, it does not take that. Logan's a prime example. When I started her bow hunting, she shot 35 pounds. And I don't remember what her arrow weighed, but it was under 300 grains. And she killed every deer she shot at. Yeah. I mean, and her draw length was like this long.
Oh, she's tinier than me.
Yeah, she's tiny. Mm-hmm. And she would just smoke them deer with that, little setup. But it was accuracy that made her successful. I mean, the kid could shoot. And so the placement was more important. So you don't need a 700 grain arrow for whitetail.
Yeah. The other thing you had me switch was to a single pin because I kept making mistakes.
Single pin is a big deal. Like when I shot back in the day, I shot 7-pin fixed, and I shot the bow hunter class most of the time. So I was used to shooting gap pins with 7 pins and having all those pins up in front of you. But most people are not. They're not used to that, especially under the pressure of shooting an animal. And so when those pins hit the animal, they shoot. Well, their top pin is usually, the top pin is going to hit higher. And I had my buddy Anthony, he was terrible about hitting deer, and he hit him high, hit him in the loin. And I'd be like, Anthony, why do you do that? Well, it finally dawned on me, he was just putting the pins on the deer and shooting, and he would hit them high. The minute he switched to a single pin, I don't think he ever lost another deer. Mm-hmm. So it's just a focal point. You're focusing on one pin, one animal. If that pin is in the deer,
then you're
probably going to kill it.
Yeah.
So do we need to change that?
The changer, I can just turn it off.
Yeah, either one. It's a bad bulb.
Is that the outside switch?
Yeah.
Wonder what just started doing it.
It's a bad bulb. It takes a long time for it to heat up, and then it does it.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then it's like strobing.
Yeah.
Yep. We're good to keep going?
Yep.
So anyway, like I said, there's a lot of theorists out there that tout heavy arrows. I'm not that guy. I mean, I want your arrow to be, sufficient for your setup, whatever setup you are. If it's spined right, you're good. You don't have to add a bunch of weight penetration. And look at the deer you've shot through.
Yeah.
I mean, you've shot through a lot.
Yeah.
Your draw length's short.
26.
Yeah, it's no problem. But there's a lot of controversy out there, and it kills me. Like expandable versus fixed blade broadheads. That's a big one. I mean, you want to start a campfire fight. I mean, mention mechanical versus fixed blade. And I've shot them all. I mean, I have shot deer with mechanical, fixed blades, everything, and they're all good, hit in the right spot. And I always tell people I'm a big mechanical fan. I mean, I've shot hundreds of animals with mechanical. It's about placement. And if me or you, a fixed blade has wings, it has direction. If me and you are going to shoot for money, I always tell people, would you shoot a fixed blade or a field point? Well, we'd all shoot field points because they're more accurate, and a mechanical is that. I mean, it's just simply more accurate. And when mechanicals first came out, they had a little bit of a bad rap, and even some of them that have been out not too long, had issues. But if you get a good, solid mechanical that's proven, they're freaking deadly. So that's another, like I said, it's a big controversial thing. I mean, on what head to shoot. But again, with today's bows, they're developing so much energy. A mechanical is bigger,
Yeah.
has
Bigger
more
damage.
hemorrhage, more damage, more lethality, I guess, in the shot. I just think it's a good thing. I mean, and it's not for everybody. I mean, a lot of people have, you got to shoot what you have faith in.
Yeah.
But I look around this room and it's kind of the same way. There's a lot of these animals may not be in here if it wasn't for that 2-inch hole. It makes a huge difference, especially on recovery. I mean, you can't track what doesn't have blood, and the idea to harvest an animal is to create hemorrhage, and the more hole you get, the more hemorrhage that you can have. And so, anyway, that's my theory on that. But equipment is a big important part of success. I mean, you have to have equipment and know how to use it and be accurate. So, it takes a lot of practice. And the equipment we have today, like that new bow you got,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really impressed with that little bow. Like, I can only imagine, like, if I'd have had that when I was 14 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have been freaking awesome. But
Resilient.
yeah, it's resilient.
Yeah.
It as soon as I picked it up, I was like, God dang, that's nice.
Well, and it fit that bow.
It fits
really
your
is
frame.
a great frame for me. A
Yeah.
great size bow.
Yeah, and it performs. I mean,
Yeah.
the performance of that bow is incredible.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they didn't have bows like
Yeah.
that 20 years ago. And now, like I said, they do. It's shooting so fast. I mean, those little arrows are just like darts. So,
And properly tuned bow. It's
yeah,
really
Denver
important.
does such a great job on
Yeah.
tuning.
Denver, I send my bow to him every year.
Yeah.
Denver Lewis, and I send him my bow, and he takes care of it and sends it back to me, and that's just what I do now. Denver's a great friend.
Denver has been a huge help to me. I know how to do it. I always tell him, Dale Earnhardt didn't really work on his car. He just knew how to drive it.
That's right.
And that's the way I feel. Like I don't really like to work on my own bow, but I know how to drive it. And he gets that thing tuned for me, and then it's just like
Lights out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we did some paper tuning today with my new bow, and he had it just
it's
smoking.
perfect.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
smoking.
perfect, and that makes a huge difference. I mean, I don't know how many guys over the years have come to camp, and sometimes I say, sometimes I don't. Most of the time I don't, but I like to watch them shoot. Before I take them hunting, and you go out there and their arrows flying,
Weird.
crazy, and I'm like, God dang, that's another pet peeve of mine. I mean, we have two types of variables. There's controllable and uncontrollable, and we deal with enough uncontrollable in a day-to-day life of deer hunting. Let's control the ones we can control. And the flight of your arrows, you can control that before you go hunting. And I always tell people, it's the little things that you have to control, because there's so much that we have no control over. And like your bow is set up perfect, shooting straight.
You got good arrows.
You got good arrows. You got good, Denver Fletcher arrows, and they got good helical fletch on them. I mean, that's a big important part. And I think also that makes a difference on. I mean, I know it does. I mean, it makes a difference on your penetration. If that arrow's flying straight, you're going to have more penetration. So it's important.
Yeah, what would David do is what I ask myself. What would David do right now? Don't do that.
Well, I do spend a lot of time shooting and practicing different scenarios and stuff. And it is important. You practice. The old saying, I had a buddy tell me, was an archery coach back in my PSE days. That's been 40 years ago. He said, we're not here to practice till you get it right. We're here to practice until you can't get it wrong. And that's what I do. And I've made so many shots at my wolf this winter. I mean, I'm sitting in a blind and at the last minute, like I'm ready to leave. And I look up and there's a wolf standing there at 45 yards is what I thought. My sight set on 30, and I knew the drop of my bow, how much it was every 5 yards, I knew. And so I grabbed my bow, knocked an arrow, and sent it and killed him with 15 yards off on my sight. But I knew my equipment. And so many people don't they don't practice those things. Well, I practice it out here and actually take a tape measure and measure how much my bow drops every 5 yards. So I know that about every 5 yards, I need another 3 inches. So, that was the difference on that night between success
and
failure after 78 hours in a blind. I spent 7 days and 78 hours, and it took, if I hadn't practiced that, there's no way I could have made that shot.
Yeah.
No way possible. So it was a big deal to make that difference that time.
Yeah.
So, but there's a lot of controversies out there right now. I know we talked about EHD the other day. That's a big hot deal for me right now. The frustration of all this time that I've spent chasing these deer, and now.
And what are we hunting for? Older, mature deer.
Yeah, and I attended a meeting this year with MDC that they held in Jeff City, and I don't want to get in the weeds too much on this deal because there's a lot of controversy on this subject right now, but they're going against, with this CWD agenda they have, against everything that we've been taught as deer hunters and deer managers and as particularly trophy hunters for 50 years. We've been trying to build our herd, get bigger, older, more mature deer, and now their agenda is to have fewer deer and younger deer.
Yeah, well, the problem is like there's a lot of hypocritical statements being made about culling these deer, and then there's also information coming out in the same conversation. They'll say, well, we need to cull the deer, but that these spores live in the soil for 100 years. So
that's what gets me. I just listened to a podcast the other day, and I'm not, I'm not a podcaster. Yeah. Like doing this is difficult for me, and listening to one is even more difficult. But I did listen to it. It was recommended to me to listen to it, and I listened to it, and it was, I manage my common sense a lot in life in general, and I listened to that, and I couldn't believe the statements they were making. I mean, one big talking point on CWD is baiting, and they were totally against it. It concentrates the prions and concentrates the deer, and the deer spread it more by licking the food source and all this, and then
which they actually don't know what causes it, really,
well, they don't know
what spreads it.
Yeah, they don't know. So, but they, in their own admission, they're like, oh, we don't want to bait. You can't bait, and yet the proven method they have here in Missouri is to put out a big pile of corn and then set over it with thermals
and shoot the deer when they're culling them.
And shoot the deer, and it's just I shake my head and I'm just like, well, okay, so what happens to all these prion things that you say that the deer are spreading with when you're done? They're there, and I was just like, I couldn't believe they even said it. And then the other thing that gets me is, what deer is the most susceptible? They do this between January 15th, right after season, to March 15th. And by then, our deer are rutted down. They're wore out. They've had 3 months of rut, dead of winter. And it's our big bucks, our big older mature bucks are the most susceptible to bait. And that's what they're shooting. I mean, that's not all they're shooting, I'm sure. But it's just, like I said, I get, my head hurts when I listen to that podcast. And the thing that gets me, too, about CWD, me included, none of us are experts. None of us know.
No.
None of this disease has been around since 1967. That's almost as long as I've been here. I'm a 64 model. But it's been here since it was discovered.
Classic.
I know. It's been discovered. It was discovered in Colorado in 1967. And there's still nobody that I know of that says, I know what to do. Let's do this and let's fix it. If somebody came to me, I'm not saying it's not a problem, this CWD, it could be a problem. But if somebody come to me and says, David, we got to kill 80% of your deer, and that's going to fix it, I would be like, damn it, that's bad. That's bad. But let's get started. Let's get it done. Because the sooner we get it done, the sooner we can regenerate.
It's a little bit like 2 weeks to slow the curve.
Yeah, yeah. And
the same kind of bogusness.
But it's like, we do all this culling and targeted removal, but it's not solving the problem.
No.
It's not solving it. If there was anybody that could tell me, say, let's I don't care what it is. Let's do this. This fixes it.
Yeah.
But they're so contradicting in all the methods.
Yeah.
It's not just Missouri. It's Arkansas. It's Wisconsin. And it really concerns me as a land specialist, in land sales. I mean, how do my clients react to that? They just spent $2.8 million on a whitetail farm, and their whole life they've been taught to manage, grow, proliferate,
Be a steward
older,
to the land for the wildlife.
be a steward and build older, bigger herd, older mature animals, trophy animals, and yet regulations say we need to kill them all. Not kill them all, kill them down. Totally opposite of what the Joe public wants. And I've always said this. A lot of people say, well, I'm not a trophy hunter. You're a trophy hunter. You only shoot trophies. Well, I don't care who you are. If you're 6 years old to 70 years old, 80 years old, we get out of bed at 4 o'clock in the morning in hopes to kill something like this.
That's right.
We may not get it. We may not live in an area. We're fortunate here. We live with big deer. We may live in South Carolina where, a 100-inch 8-pointer is a big deer. But you get out of bed at 4
For that.
And so their management process for the CWD goes against all of that. And then in the same sentence, and this is what gets me, their biggest concern is hunter retention and recruitment. We're losing hunters nationwide, theoretically. Well, you lose the trophy quality of an animal, of a species, you're going to have less hunters. It's just a fact. I don't care what it is. People will not get out of bed at 4 o'clock in the morning and say,
I want to go shoot a doe this morning.
Man, I hope I get a doe today. I mean, there's 2 left on my farm, and by God, I hope I kill one. I mean, and then there's the money. Like the money, and I don't know the stats. I've heard them, but I can't regenerate them. Repeat them. But it's something like $78 million or something in federal grant money that is out there for these states to get. And I really, truly believe that's what it's about. It's about money. The more they can proliferate this agenda of CWD, the more money they get, the more important they are. Even to some of these influencers that are on these podcasts, I think the more they proliferate the information of CWD and act as if they're experts on the subject, the more clicks they get, the more money they make.
Well, like scents, lures, and attractants. So like tinks. I work with tinks, deer urine lure. They make a synthetic and they make a regular. Well, they had to start making a synthetic because they started banning it in certain states.
Yeah.
Well, all of the deer that they're collecting from have been tested CWD free. So that's not the issue, and yet they're banning it. And one thing I have learned about our government in my lifespan is once they remove a choice from the American people, it is very rarely they give it back.
No.
So once a right is stripped, we don't usually get them back. So when we take and we let them make these decisions on stuff that's not scientifically proven, once we give up these rights, we're not getting them back.
Yeah.
So here we are rolling over for something they can't prove, can't document.
And I think the public would accept it so much easier if it was black and white.
Yeah.
If it was like, look, these scents, that's what's killing our deer.
That's what's killing our deer. Everybody would want them banned,
Nobody
right?
would use it.
Yeah, nobody would use it.
But it's just a theory. It's like, somebody on a...
Well, they can't theory it because that's all coming from that's all tested deer, right? So even that theory, it's gross ignorance is what it is.
Well, and I've always been told, I don't know whether this is true or not, like it kind of contradicts what you just said, but that there's no way to test a live deer for CWD. Now, I don't know whether that's fact. I don't know, but that's what they've all said. That's why they test all these deer that we kill, in Missouri. The first 2 days, they test all the whitetails that are killed because they can't test a live deer. It doesn't show. They have to take brain cells or something. I don't know. But so they don't even know, as best I know, if CWD is 100% fatal. Now, there's armchair experts out there that say, oh, my God, a deer If he gets CWD, he's going to die. Well, we're all going to die. I mean, mortality is certain. You know, we don't know. You know, did that deer die? He was 8 years old and he died of CWD, or did he just die? You know, get old and die. And that's another big controversial point of CWD. I think we've always had it. I think it's always been here.
Well, according to their prion research.
Exactly. It just didn't.
We just didn't
show wake up with prions in the dirt last week.
And so this is what I don't get. They want to kill or cull these populations within a radius of where it's located. But that spore doesn't come out of the dirt. Then more deer come over there, and then you're just reinfecting more deer. So we have to kill every deer in the United States?
That's the common sense approach that I'm saying.
It doesn't make any sense.
The state's own admission, this is Missouri Department of Conservation, their targeted deer removal, you know, we kill about 250,000 a year here in the state. Their targeted deer removal, their solution to this problem, this massive problem we have, they killed 1,440 deer total on their targeted deer removal. So we kill 250,000 by legal hunting methods throughout the year, but they're going to go out and spend all this money and kill 1,440, and by gosh, we're going to slow this down. That's going to be the solution. I mean, you just think about that with common sense, and it literally makes my head hurt. I mean, if somebody said, we're going to kill 1,400 deer.
And it's going to help it.
And it's going to help. It's going to be 100%. It's fixed. Like this area, I don't care if they killed 1,400 in a county. 1,400 was statewide. Now keep that in mind. 1,400 in a county would be a significant number. It's still not going to fix the problem. Mm-hmm. If you leave one deer, you still have the potential, according to them, of having CWD because it's in the soil.
Yeah.
So I was just like, and then there was a guy on that same podcast I'm talking about. He said that it also lives in the foliage of plants. So if a deer licks or whatever, this prion can travel into foliage of the plants. So it's not just the dirt. It lives on the leaves. It lives wherever old boy puts it, I guess. I don't know. But I'm like, dude, killing them.
This doesn't even make sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
No sense.
When I listen to that podcast, like I said, it's a struggle for me to do. It's 3 hours long. And it's just like they're talking to hear their head rattle. And I'm just like, dude, if you listen to yourself, if you just sit down and listen to this with an open mind, you'd be like, what in the hell are you talking about? Doug, the guy, the farmer, the dairy farmer from Wisconsin, he was also attending this meeting. And great guy. Doug, I can't think of his last name. I wish I could because he's a great guy. But he's got a 430 acre farm up there. It's a dairy farm. And he has convinced himself that this CWD is the end of do-all of deer hunting as a culture. He's big into the culture of deer hunting, like, Wisconsin style. You go out in your orange suit and you shoot a deer or whatever. And I'm sitting there, he's bought into the CWD Kool-Aid or whatever I call it, drinking the Kool-Aid. And he really firmly believes that this is a mission, that he has to reduce his numbers and his age structure, or it's going to eliminate his culture that he's experienced since his childhood. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, dude, we don't know enough about this to do that. And then I think back to my clients comparing him to Doug, and you keep in mind, he's got a 430 acre dairy farm that he deer hunts on. Well, how would he feel if it was a 430 acre farm that he bought for deer hunting that, he spent $3 million for or whatever, and solely for deer hunting, and the cows were encroaching, somebody's cows were encroaching on his deer hunting. Well, he'd want to kill them all. And it's like, just think about what you're saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, it just, like I said, it's a deep subject, and I'm extremely passionate about it because
you want older deer,
yeah.
Healthy deer herds. You're a steward to the land. You're putting in quality habitat.
Yeah.
You're trying to help the deer survive, and by culling them, what is it really proving?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we have to all ask ourselves. To what end is the culling really helping? And if we don't start asking that question, we're gonna have big problems.
Yeah, and you know, our deer take so much pressure here in the state. We're extremely lucky.
Vehicles, the rut, the
Well,
winters, everything. They
yeah.
have a hard life.
Yeah, growing up through college, we were lucky enough. We lived through the glory days of the rapid expansion of the deer, deer herd. We just kept getting more and more and more deer, and I truly, they started being more liberal with tags and everything, and we took a lot of it for granted. But now we're seeing it go the other way. We're seeing a decline between EHD and a liberal harvest and methods, and which is a whole other subject.
That's a whole other
That's
subject.
a whole other subject. But I think if we want them at the future, if we want to experience that kind of population of deer, we've got to do something. I mean, it's not only CWD to worry about. It's over harvest. I mean, a lot of people, people will not regulate themselves in general, like I do. Like I only take, my property. I have thousands of acres, and we take very few deer off of it total. But most people are not like that. If the Department of Conservation
and you only harvest
mature animals. Yeah. But people, like I said, in general, they don't spend the time in the field like I do. But they, if the department says we have too many deer, well, Johnny Diamond goes to the deer woods opening day, and he said the department says we have too many deer. May or may not apply to his farm. He may have had an outbreak of EHD, and 70% of his deer herd are in a creek somewhere. But by gosh, he's going to kill more deer because the department said, and we can't do that. We just can't. I mean, you have to be knowledgeable of your property and manage it according to, what's going on with your property. It's not a statewide mandate saying we have too many deer may not apply to you. For instance, I got two farms that are 5 miles apart, give or take. And 2 years ago, I found 23 dead deer from EHD on one farm, not one deer on the other farm. So I kind of applied a different management strategy to both farms. One of them I had no problem. The other one was bad. I mean, there was hardly any mature deer left. And then the following year, I had it on both farms. So it really is impactful, to your deer herd. When you have that go through, you have to adapt and manage it accordingly. You can't just listen to, the regulations and say, well, it's unlimited. We can kill as many does as we want. It's not good. So anyway, I don't know what the answer is. I mean, in short, I wished I did. I wish I could say that, like I said, if somebody said we got to kill 80% and it's fixed, I'd be all in. I'd be the first one to do it. But I don't think that's the answer. I mean, until we know, until the science, the doctrine of MDC states that we manage our wildlife by science, until somebody decides that
definitive science.
It's definitive, and it's black and white. I mean, I compare it to HIV. Whenever that came out, I don't know when that was. I mean, was it 40 years ago?
I was in the 80s, I think.
Yeah,
when it became like a big.
It was a big deal, but we didn't know anything about it. Like it was new, and if we look at that time, it was when it first came out, it was drug addicts and the homosexuals or whatever had this disease. It scared the hell out of everybody. What if we would have said, well, we need to kill all them people to eliminate this disease? Well, that would have been so wrong. And I compare, CWD to that. I mean, it's like, well, let's study it. Let's figure out, maybe there's a feed that we can actually provide for the deer that will build their immune system to it. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a doctor, not a scientist or whatever, but with HIV, we figured it out. We studied it, and people are living with it. I mean, it's a sad disease, and anybody, again, we thought it was only the druggies and the homosexuals that got it. Well, it's not. I mean, anybody could get it. So it shows you how ignorant we were to that. And I even go back years ago, and I probably told you this story. I was not able to drive, so it would have been 70s, late 70s. There was a mountain I hunted, and the Department of Conservation went in and put ponds on it. And the first biologist for the state, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I know, John Lewis, he was a turkey biologist. He went up there, or we went up there. We were hunting these ponds. They put them in the ponds in, and the whole mountain would drought out in the summer. The only water was on each end, the creek and the river, and then the basic mountain was dry. They built the ponds. Well, pretty soon, all the deer, the turkeys, the coyotes. I mean, it was a hotbed for. There was 4 ponds. So we found all these dead deer in the ponds that year. There was I don't remember. There was 4 or 5 deer, give or take, in each pond. Well, the turkey biologist for MDC come up and he says, "There's bad water in these ponds. There's bad water. We got to bulldoze the ponds in." So they bulldozed the ponds in. We thought, too, it was bad water. To this day, as far as I know, they're still bulldozed in. But now we know that as it was EHD. The water wasn't bad. It had a little bug in the edge of the mud that killed the deer. Again, we knew nothing, nothing about it. And this CWD thing's the similar to me. But I do know that there's a lot of money involved in it, and millions of dollars. And until somebody proves otherwise, I just feel that that's a lot of the driving factor. Whether it's some podcast talking about it as experts, which I've yet to see an expert on CWD. I don't know who that is. But I'm sure one of these days we'll look back on this conversation and say,
I wish we'd have known this. Or
I wish we'd have known this.
Wish we'd have known that, or had this fact, or had
you were
this.
so wrong.
Yeah.
Or you were so wrong. Like I may be 100% wrong, but my feeling is to do nothing and see what we're dealing with. But I could be wrong. I'd be like, holy shit! I wish we'd have done more. I'm sure there'll be the case, but until we do, the targeted deer removal to me is a joke. It's a slap in a deer manager's face when you have that going on next to the $2 million farm you bought to manage for whitetail. It's a slap in the face. I just think that it's wrong. But anyway, that's me. The another controversial thing I'd like to bring up while we're talking.
We're going to go all in.
I know this is bad. This one's going to create a lot of...
We're going to go all in. I don't even know where this is going.
Yeah.
I got to put my seatbelt on.
Yeah. This one's going to create some ruffled feathers, and I don't mean it to. I'm passionate about it. I mean, crossbows.
Oh boy, here we go.
This is a big one. I'm 62 years old, and I still shoot 84 pounds. I'm very fortunate. Very fortunate. I've never had any
physical injury.
Yeah, I've never had any shoulder surgeries. I shoot all the time, so I stay in shape. So I'm not typical, I guess I would say, at this point in my life. But a lot of guys out there are going to crossbows, and I see it. The one that really gets me is the ones like we have Bow Hunters of America, Missouri Bow Hunters, all these different social media groups that are bow hunters. But in my opinion, and then you can hate it if you want, but crossbows are nothing even remotely similar to what I perceive as being archery. If you can't, and I know we went through this, and I remember it going from recurve when a compound was illegal. So I remember the progression, the transition from
a recurve to a compound.
Exactly. Like my first deer was with a recurve because that's all we could use. So I know technology advances and everything, but I look back and it's getting worse by the day. By the minute, it's getting worse. So many guys that are
able-bodied,
big, strong, strapping guys. And I've got friends that's going to ruffle their feathers. I don't care. That are perfectly capable of shooting a compound bow and being archers, but they choose to shoot a crossbow. And in my opinion, it's just absolutely killing us. Again, it's going right back to what we talked about. They're super efficient on killing bigger, older deer, and it's reducing our age structure. In my opinion, I know of probably, 10 or 12 big bucks that were killed in the last 2 weeks that would have never been killed with a traditional compound bow. that were killed with crossbows, and it just hurts me. I mean, and I feel almost guilty for feeling this way, but I can't help it. I mean, I work extremely hard as a bow hunter to practice and do what I do, and to put that out there with me, it just really gets me.
Well, there's some states that have a set, like for example, I came from Oregon, and in the state of Oregon, you can use a crossbow, but it's during rifle season.
Well,
because you're not physically holding the string back.
You're not pulling it back.
You're not pulling it back. You're not holding it back, and so they don't consider it archery in that state. In Wyoming, however, crossbows are legal to shoot during the archery season.
And I get the theory. I 100% get the theory behind it. They're, like I said, back to their main concern. When we had the deer summit back in, I think it was in 2012, 10 or 12, we had a big deer summit at Big Cedar Lodge. Johnny Morse sponsored it. The number, and all the agencies in the state, I mean, every state with whitetails was represented there. Their collective concern, their number one concern, was hunter retention and recruitment. So along comes crossbows. So it allowed all the gun hunters or just hunters, anybody could take a crossbow and experience archery or go to the woods in October. And I get the theory behind it. But now it's being, in my opinion, again, it may or may not be right, but it's being abused. I mean, people are using it as a significant edge, you know, and the technology's advanced so much. I mean, a crossbow is 100% lethal at 100 plus yards. That's not archery.
No.
In my opinion. When you have a scoped weapon that's cocked and all you do is pull the trigger, it's just not archery, in my opinion. And I think that if a guy, this is just a thought that I threw out that I wish they would have applied, but if a guy chooses to do that, if he wants to hunt in October with a crossbow, it's fine. You know, do it.
I have bow hunted during gun season. I mean,
we all do. I have for years.
Yeah, we have, like, we carry over and buy a second tag here in Missouri, put your orange vest on and go bow hunt in gun season. We've also done that. 100%.
I've done it for, I remember years ago when I was young, my cousin did that, and I was like, what an idiot. You know, you can take a gun tomorrow. Well, you know, again, I'm an archer, so I adapted, and I was like, I figured out why he did it, because he's a bow hunter. Mm-hmm. But if you choose, I mean, this is a thing that I wish they would apply. If you choose to use a crossbow, you buy a crossbow tag. It's good to hunt in archery season, but if you tag a deer, your firearms tag is void. So you can't gun hunt. If you kill a buck in October, you can't gun hunt then. You know, your tag's already filled. And then once gun season's over, you're back to a bow hunter like the rest of us. You can start bow hunting again. And that's just a Missouri thing, because we can kill one buck before rifle season and one buck after rifle season as archers. But a crossbow hunter can kill one buck before gun season, and then he can turn around this coming Saturday, and he can take his rifle and shoot another one. And I wish I knew the statistic, but I don't remember. But I remember years ago when we went to a 2-buck limit or whatever, the number of people that killed 2 bucks, if I remember right, was only like 8% of the bow hunters tagged 2 deer, mm-hmm. or the hunters period. There was only like 8%, or maybe less than that even.
Well, in Oregon, our archery success was 1%. I don't know the stat. I don't know the stat in Wyoming.
I don't either. I don't know what it is, but I know it's low.
It's probably higher here than
it's low. There. The number is low.
Yeah.
So I'd like to know what the stat has done now, because I know several guys that were gun hunters only. They killed 1 deer a year because that's all they did. Now they're crossbow gun hunters, so they have 4 months to kill a deer with their crossbow, and then they've got 10 days to kill a deer with their rifle. Well, 90% of those guys are killing 2 bucks mm-hmm. with a rifle. Again, going totally against what we're all trying to do. You know, it's lowering our quality by reducing the number of bucks. I mean, they're killing the heck out of the bucks. So I don't know. I mean, I would be all in if they just said, look, you kill 1 deer. You kill it 1 buck. I mean, I'm good with 1 buck. if I can
good
hunt
one, yeah.
a good buck. I don't even have to kill it.
Yeah.
I'm just happy to hunt it. But now I bet you the majority, I shouldn't say the majority, I bet it would scare you to know that statistic now compared to 20 years ago. How many guys kill 2 bucks now versus 20 years ago? I need to know that number.
Or even 15 years ago.
Just before crossbow.
Yeah.
Anthony, my friend that got killed, you don't know this, and probably nobody does really, but he had over 6,000 signatures one year trying to get 2 of our local public areas to archery only. And he worked so hard. Like, he had every dealer in the country with a petition sheet, and they were signing it up. He had over 6,000 signatures, which is pretty impressive. Well, he was killed in December of 21. Well, January of 17, they passed that. They passed it where those were archery only areas. But what he didn't anticipate
Crossbows.
is they added crossbows at the same time. So about, I don't know, it's been probably 4 or 5 years ago now, I guess. I'd tagged out early. So Stick and I we would ride around in the evening. We couldn't hunt, so we ride around in the evening, and I've got a couple local public properties here that I drive by, and I was standing in a parking lot one day with my dog and with Stick, and an agent came up. It wasn't an agent, it was the manager of the public area. And I don't know the acreage. I think it's 1,300 acres, I think is what it is. But he had told me that they had killed 43 bucks off of that 1,300 acres before rifle season now. And that was archery only. That was one of the areas that Anthony got changed into archery only. They passed it. But when they added crossbows, they killed 43 bucks off of that property before rifle season. I was like appalled by that. I was just like, you got to be kidding me. And I was looking in the parking lot, and every truck was Louisiana, Arkansas. A lot of non-resident pressure. And so we hung out there, and I ended up talking to the guy till it was dark. And every single guy that walked out that night, but one, was packing a crossbow. And I was just like, I didn't know what to think. I mean, I felt so bad. I was just like, my friend had worked so hard to make it an archery only. And yet every man that walked out of the woods that night,
Except for one,
was not an archer. They were a crossbow guy. And they're not the same. I don't care what anybody says. I mean, you can get mad or whatever you want, but it's not archery. When you take a 9-power crossbow scope and you can shoot a group like that at 100 yards by pulling the trigger, it's not archery. And that area, that public area now, compared to when I was in college and we hunted it back then, it's not even remotely the same. If somebody blindfolded me and dropped me off there, know the area like the back of my hand, I probably wouldn't even recognize it because of the lack of deer trails and ancestral rubs. I mean, I remember I used to walk the river and these rubs were like this big, just shredded, and they're all gone, and a property, I don't care where you're at, can't sustain that. Mm-hmm. And so again, you want to have recruitment and retention. You can't have an area devoid of big deer.
Well, the number one reason people quit hunting is not having a place to hunt.
Yeah.
But also an opportunity when you go hunting. And even if you're hunting the best farm, as you and I both know, that's the best managed with the wildlife and habitat in mind, and is what you're talking about, trying to get an older age deer. Even when you come out and you're hunting those places, it's hard.
It's hard.
It's hard. It is hard, and it's really hard for someone, especially a new hunter, that's learning to stay interested in hunting. If they go out and they sit and it's cold and it's hard and they don't see anything,
And there's a lot of that. We had a meeting years ago, and a young lady she was a single mom, had her son, 14-year-old boy, whatever. She was taking him hunting on public ground. They had been 3 years and never have seen a deer on public ground. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I felt so bad.
Yeah.
And yet we have more seasons, we have more liberal weapon choices, and we're pounding these areas. And you talk about hunter retention. I mean, that kid's not going to want to go.
Not for long.
So I don't know what the answer is. I mean, the point at hand is I'm 100% behind crossbows for a guy that doesn't have the ability, the physical ability to do it. I mean, I may be there someday. I mean, I could pull my shoulder tomorrow, and by God, I mean, I would hate it. But I would probably take a crossbow so I could still be out. And I'm at a point now. I may not. I may just say, you know what? I'm going to take my camera. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't have to kill one. I mean, I don't have nothing to prove, but I would still want to be out with you guys or whoever. You know, I totally respect that. But we have the guys that just, it's like, have to kill a deer. They have to kill, and I'm just like, dude, it's so much more than that. Mm-hmm. And I'm totally okay.
Well, even like Jeff this week, he hadn't shot a deer in 3 years.
It's a prime example.
He hadn't shot a deer in 3 years. He comes here every year, and we all hunt.
Yep.
Hasn't shot one in 3 years. Me, I haven't shot an elk. I moved to Wyoming so I could hunt big bulls. I'm looking for a certain age. I'm looking for a certain class of elk. I'm not just looking for a 6-point bull. I'm looking for that next level. I have not shot an elk in three years. Like, that's also where we have to kind of get sometimes too, is like, are we willing to say, you know what? What do we have to, do we need to all fill our tags every year?
Well, and here's the thing, and you are like me, I think. I mean, you're perfectly fine with that.
Yeah.
But
that's my choice.
You would sure like to see more mature bulls. It's a prime example.
People be on their own choice. Hey, you know what? I'm okay just not notching my tag and enjoying the experience.
Yeah.
And for what I do, you know, making TV is really tough because you want to go out and harvest, right? But I'm at a point where I'm at with hunting where I'd rather, like you say, let's make a video of it. And if we need to let it go, we let it go.
Well, the kid, you know, even you go back to like taking a kid hunting. We have the youth seasons. That's another controversial topic, you know. A kid, I don't care if he's 4, well, not 4, probably, say 10 years old. He wants that opportunity to see a big buck.
Yeah.
He may not kill one.
But he'll always remember seeing one.
He'll always remember seeing one, and that makes him look forward to tomorrow, the next year, the next week, or whatever it is. You take that away from him, it's just not good. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, again, like Logan, she was killing deer at 10 years old with a bow, with 35 pounds.
Yeah.
Show me a man, a grown adult, that can't pull 35 pounds.
Yeah. The other thing I think is, you know, it's retraining your brain to say trophy versus selective. So for me, what I would deem a trophy is going to be different than a first-time hunter.
Yeah.
You know, you take a kid out and they shoot a fork and horn deer or, you know, a first-time hunter, they're so excited about that. That is, for them, that they've never seen a deer, they've never been in the wild, that's the most exciting day of their life, great. But at some point, we all have to rate ourselves on what we want to set for our standard, or what is selective.
Well, and that's another deep subject. Like, you know me, like I want my hunters to shoot what makes them happy. I like to educate them and tell them, you know, my belief or whatever, and I think what needs to be harvested or whatever. But I'm 100% good with you shoot what makes you happy. Yeah. Like I don't ever want to restrict. We used to try that. And when I was in outfitting, we used to put fines on people that shoot under 140 or 150 or whatever. And I quit doing it because it took so much away from the hunt. Like,
because then everybody's obsessed over score.
100%. And they don't, and the other thing is that they can't score them. They don't know what they are. But if you get excited,
do it.
I don't care if it's a spike. I mean, and you're happy with that. I mean, shoot it and be happy. But people won't regulate themselves. So if you're going to do that, place a regulation that also protects the age structure, where you don't have to shoot a spike every year. And you may shoot one this year and then be like, holy smokes, look at that great big one that I saw. Next year I'm going to get him. You have to have that to look forward to, or you lose the retention.
You have to, well, I mean, you have to be willing to eat a tag.
Yeah, and
Once in a while.
everybody.
If you want to harvest a big animal, you have to be okay with walking away from a good one,
Exactly.
or a smaller age class one. If you're not okay with it, then do it. But there's a lot of people, that look at you and they say, well, he's lucky. He does this and that, and it's like, no. You, when you sit in the stand, you'll pass deer I won't pass.
Yeah.
Even the deer I shot this year, you're like, well, I didn't really pay much attention to him on trail camera because I wouldn't have shot him. It's one of the biggest deer I've ever shot.
Yeah.
With my bow. I was over the moon excited.
Yeah.
It's not a deer you would have shot. So my definition of what my selective harvest standards are different than yours.
100%, but you still want that opportunity when you're
Yes.
out there for that.
Yes.
I mean, you may shoot this, and I'm 100% good with that, but you're out there hoping for this.
Everybody is.
And the state needs to help us with that.
Yeah.
Like, have more opportunities for this. I mean, I don't, like I said, I may be
Utah
wrong.
does a really good job for managing for trophy
Utah
size.
does. A lot of states do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's becoming harder and harder all the time, but a lot of states really manage. Like, look at Iowa as far as whitetail go. I mean, I always say, like if you have 3 or 4 states that you can pick of, I mean, you're going to pick the ones that have the biggest bucks. If you can hunt any state, you're going to gravitate, whether you're 8 or 80, you're going to gravitate to the state that has the biggest bucks. And so I wish they all were that way. I mean, because it's the evolution of the hunter. I mean, I remember when I was growing up as a kid, I killed my first deer in 74, I believe, 1974. I just hoped to see a deer. And I killed my first deer over hounds, which is rare. I mean, dogs. But I remember hearing those dogs coming, and I didn't give 2 shits of what was in front of those dogs. I was just hoping I could see it. Well, as a hunter, look how I've evolved. I mean, actually, it was a doe. I shot a doe. The guy's dog that owned the dogs, his name was Jack Street. Great guy. I was so happy that that I killed this doe. But hunters have evolved since then. They expect more. They don't want the dogs running the deer. They want, they want food plots. They want to grow them. They want to see them mature and like that's the deer we've hunted for 3 years. I mean, that didn't exist 40 years ago, 50 years ago. Is it 50 years ago? Yeah, it'd be 50 years ago. But what I'm saying is the agencies haven't evolved with their own successes. I mean, back then we were lucky to see a deer track.
Yeah.
Now we've got all these deer that, there are deer everywhere. Let's manage them for quality. Let's make the quality better and have more of them where we can all experience that. I mean, I want everybody to experience that. I mean, imagine seeing that on the hoof.
I would have a stroke.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, I may be wrong. I may be way off base, but give up the crossbows, shorten the season, limit the harvest, whatever it takes to have a better herd, a better quality herd, a better experience. And I think the hunter retention recruitment will take care of itself. But to have this targeted deer removal, extended seasons, youth seasons 3 or 4 times a year, doe seasons, it's too much. It's just too much. We've managed ourselves out of the goal that we've all worked so hard for, I guess. I don't know. My vocabulary sucks when it comes to
I was
expressing.
thinking that just now.
Yeah, I know. When it comes to expressing myself, I struggle. But the gist of it is...
You just want the next generation to be able to experience quality deer hunting.
100%.
And even though you don't harvest maybe that trophy, you want every hunter to feel like there's an opportunity in the woods for them to have that encounter or experience. Or
100%. That sums it up right there. I look at what I've experienced, and I'm very, very fortunate. And I look at, like, my daughter's kids, my grandkids, maybe even their kids. Not so much. My grandkids have killed freaking giants. But I want my daughter's kids to experience this. And a younger, fewer does not fit the bill. It just doesn't work. So anyway.
The best thing I think a lot of people need to do is your wildlife commissioners have their governor appointed. So the governor of your state appoints the wildlife commissioners. They have commissioners meetings, and everybody in every state should have their finger on the pulse of what these commissioner decisions are doing, and an opportunity to give feedback within those commissioner meetings. And because that commission is what sets hunting seasons and standards in which we're all regulated by. And change starts with us. Squeaky wheel gets the grease.
That's exactly why I went to this meeting. I was dead set against it because I'm kind of, I don't know, I guess I'm kind of anti-Missouri Department of Conservation right now. I used to be very respectful of them. I used to think that they were like the ultimate in agencies across the state, and they are the most well-funded agency in the nation. They can do a lot of really good things, and they have done a lot of good things. But I had to go to the meeting just so I could say I tried. You know what I mean? Like,
well, that's what we all have to do. We all have to get involved.
I think they do. I think that meeting it was an invitational deal, so there wasn't everybody invited. But I think they do have forums that they invite the public in, and I think the public needs to be extremely vocal right now, particularly with this CWD hot button. You know, crossbows is just an everyday in the life of an agency, but we all thought it was okay when it happened, but now it's coming full circle. But I think in general, I think we all as hunters,
however you feel, whatever side of the fence you land on, you need to be out there as a hunter, as a conservation, and express it, because the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And if you agree with David on crossbows, then be that that wheel that's squeaking. If you don't agree with David, be that person out there that's hey, this guy's wrong, because that's the beautiful nature of our country. You know, we're in a constitutional republic. We all have a say in things, you know, and like, let's get out there and have whatever your voice is, whether you agree with David or not, whether I agree with David or not. It doesn't matter. We all have to stand up for what we believe in to create the best future that we see. You're passionate. You have a tremendous respect for wildlife, for wild places. And you really, I genuinely believe you have the wildlife's best interest at heart. And you know, some people might not agree with what you're saying, but I think everybody agrees with the outcome that we want.
Well, and that's exactly right. I unlike a lot of people on these podcasts, I'm not an expert. I mean, I'm not. I wished I was. I wish I had a better vocabulary and could spout stats like a lot of these guys do, but I don't. But I look at the overall scope of what I've experienced in my 62 years with Whitetail, and I want others to be able to experience that. And I just feel that we're not headed there right now. I mean, and there's a lot of little things that, you know, that could be changed within the regulations, I think, that would help it. And I don't know, I don't claim to have all the answers. I just know that there's a lot of problems right now. Like that, it's just deer are not a resource of the more you harvest, the more you get. Period. That's it. So you have to be conscious. We in our lifetime, we've never had really that issue. And we've been on this for a while now. We got to wrap it up, but I never thought we could kill them all. Like growing up, I was like, holy shit, you know. We went for a while, we had unlimited deer to doe tags, and a lot of guys were killing 10, 15, 20 does a year. And I'm like, well, doesn't matter. We can't kill them all. Well, in a lot of places we have. I mean, I used to be able to take a drive right here for my house. I didn't live here then, but I could drive this neighborhood and see 5 or 6 deer that were pope and young, which was a big deal back then. You know, in the late 80s, early 90s, to see or kill a pope and young was a big deal. We'd see 5 or 6 a night. Now I could drive you around here for weeks and we probably wouldn't see one. To me, that's sad, because we have the finances, the property, the knowledge to grow them. Let's just grow them. You know, let's just make it where it's like, holy shit, look at that buck. I mean, there's not a feeling out there better than seeing a giant buck run through. Look at these leaves. I mean, that they're changing right now. But seeing a giant buck just running through the sumac right now. I mean, that's what I want to leave for, for my grandkids and my great grandkids. So
one thing I want to encourage everybody to join is Safari Club International. They have a great legal team, advocacy team that, on these pressing issues, they get in there. They have staff that lives and works every day in Washington, D.C., and they advocate for us. So that's one thing I can say. You have to be a part of those types of organizations that are really have their finger on the pulse of what is going on with legislation, and they're first for hunters' rights, and they're so important. If you're not a member and you're a hunter, you're making a mistake. You need to be a member of SCI. And with that, we'll wrap this up and just kind of.
This was a long one.
Well, you got steam coming out your ears.
Hey, right or wrong, I'm extremely passionate, and I know we're probably going to get a lot of feedback on this, and I'm cool with it. I love to argue.
Yeah.
I mean, I love it. I mean, right or wrong, I'll argue. I don't have all the answers, but I want it to be better.
Yeah.
And that's the main thing. Is like I said, at the end of the day, if we can be better, and people, like I said, my great grandkids can someday kill bucks like this, I'm freaking happy.
Yeah.
Even my hunters. I mean, look at Jeff's deer. I mean, 181-inch deer. How awesome is that?
That's unbelievable deer.
Yeah, and I there's not a better feeling than that, to walk up on that. So anyway, thanks for the opportunity.
No, I appreciate you and for putting up with me every year.
Well,
whether you want to or not. Here I am.
Yeah.
And I want to thank all of you for tuning into this episode of the Wild Uncut podcast. We want to thank our partners out there that make this podcast free to you. We've got Ruger, we've got Safari Club International, and OnX Hunt. You guys use code WILD20 to save 20% off on elite membership of OnX Hunt. And as I talked about, Safari Club International, if you use the code Titus23, that is going to save you 25% on your new or upgraded SCI membership. So join us, and thank you all for tuning in. And thank you.
Thank you.
There are a lot of Americans that understand the value of hunting, but we all know that right now, national support of hunting is extremely volatile. It seems that with every passing day, our voice is diminished, and the court of public opinion is not effectively hearing our side. We need advocates working on our behalf in Washington, D.C. to defend our freedom to hunt. And thankfully, when we need it the most, we have that advocate in Safari Club International. SCI's world headquarters are located in Washington, D.C., just blocks from the United States Capitol, which means that SCI is on the ground with our congressional leaders and federal agencies on our behalf, on behalf of the hunting community. SCI has an active political presence in all 50 states through their extensive chapter network and government affairs staff. If you have ever wondered why you should be a member of SCI, you shouldn't wonder anymore. Join us in the fight to defend hunting. Go to safariclub.org to learn more. Thank you all for listening to the Wild and Uncut podcast. If you would like to hear more, be sure to not only watch, but subscribe to my Pursue the Wild digital series airing on Carbon TV and YouTube. And while you're at it, follow me at Kristy Titus on Facebook and Instagram.